Welcome to Jason's Jewels, the best sports show you've never heard of. I am your host, Jason Alexander. And today we're talking college football, NASCAR, and a quick update on the Major League Baseball playoffs. And for those of you who want some NFL, don't worry, I got you covered. My boy, NFL expert Jason Jules, NFL expert Jeff Jefferson will be joining us on a separate episode that will be available to you as soon as this one is available as well. So be on the lookout for that. If you're here for NFL discussion, that's the show you need to tune into, the Jason Jules State of the Union NFL address. And that will be with my boy Jeff Jefferson. And that will be, like I said, it should be available to you just like you're seeing this one. So, like I said, if you want NFL, go to that one. This one is going to be everything else. So, with that being said, we got college football, and last weekend was a little wild. Now, I think before I get into the games and some of the action around the games, we should all pause and take some time to applaud the NIL and the transfer portal for what it has done to make college football more entertaining for everyone involved. So let's give it up for the NIL and the transfer portal for doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Yes. Now, with that being said, are there still five of the top 10 teams in the country in the SEC? Yeah. Are there seven SEC teams in the top 15? Yeah. But let me tell you something though. None of them teams are scary. Not a single one of them SEC teams are scary. And normally when we have SEC teams that dominate the rankings like this, usually they're pretty scary. I ain't gonna lie, they're good. They're definitely good, but they're beatable and they're beating up on each other, which is what we want to see. And one thing that we know, if they're going to beat up on each other, that means other teams can beat up on them too. Now, one of the teams that I want to talk about is Indiana. But before I get to Indiana, I got to give another shout out to Miami. Miami's still doing what Miami does. They are top 3 team in the country, resurgent Miami Hurricanes. I still see you. I still see you, boys. And I know y'all got Louisville coming up this week. Hey, I expect y'all to handle business against the Louisville Cardinals. And truthfully, I expect y'all to handle business all the way through the ACC. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Miami can do once we get to the playoffs and start seeing the real college football teams take place. But anyway, let's talk about Indiana real quick. The Indiana Hoosiers are a top 3 football team in the college football landscape. I'm going to say it again. The Indiana Hoosiers are a top 3 team in college football this year. The Hoosiers, people, they ain't been as good. They weren't even as good when they had Michael Penix, a quarterback, and he transferred out. That lets you know how historical this moment is for the Indiana Hoosiers. So, hey, tip of the cap, salute Indiana Hoosiers. They would not be here without the NIL, the transfer portal. And that is why I wanted to pause and show some love to the NIL, the transfer portal, because anybody who's been listening to Jason's Jewels knows I am a big fan of NIL and I'm a big fan of the portal. So I'm glad to see that as time has gone on, it's working out the way that I thought it would. It's working out the way that I hope other folks expected it would. Other folks would as well. Now, let me read you some stats about Indiana football and where they're at when it comes to the NIL. Indiana's NIL budget is estimated to be around $13.6 million, placing it among the top programs in college football. This estimate is separate from the NCAA's new revenue sharing model, which could provide the athletic department with a total of $20.5 million to distribute to athletes, with football taking the largest share of it, 70 to 75%. As of April 2025, Coach Kurt Signati mentioned that his football program's NIL pot of gold was not comparable to the unlimited resources of top-tier programs like Oregon or Ohio State, which he estimated to have budgets around $40 million or more. So I got this from Google's AI overview. If anybody's wondering where this information came from, hey, if it ain't right, I blame Google and their AI engine. But anyway, as he was saying, their $20.5 million does not compare to what Ohio State or Oregon has when they have unlimited NIL resources. But that didn't stop Indiana from beating Oregon this past weekend. You understand what I'm saying? All the team needs is a little bit of money, a little bit of some resources. Allow them to get some of these big time players that are flying all over the place. And next thing you know, you're a top 3 team in the country. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. We should all be applauding that. We should want to see teams like Indiana do good and be a top 3 team in the country. And hopefully they'll make it to the Big Ten championship game and we can get that Indiana-Ohio State matchup that I know everybody would love to see. Because if we're going to be honest, call a spade, one thing that the playoffs have done, and I've mentioned this before, one thing the playoffs are doing is making the regular season a little bit less anticlimactic. And we're just waiting to see who's going to end up in the playoffs and what the matchups will be in the playoffs. While I'm over here sharing love and spreading love to the NIL, again, the playoff system is what's causing the regular season to be a little bit boring in my eyes. But again, when we get to the playoffs, it's going to be on and popping, and I can't wait for that. But back to the NIL discussion. Teams like Texas Tech are able to compete with top tier schools for recruits, and they've opened up their pocketbook as well. And Texas Tech is another undefeated team that last I saw was they might be a top 10 team now, or maybe number 11, somewhere like that. I'll look that up here in a second. But regular watchers and listeners know that I have been preaching about Texas Tech all season long. Watch out for them boys. Watch out for them boys. And my boy Will Hammond, he led the team to another victory this week when Barry Morton got injured yet again. I'm telling you, folks, Will Hammond is going to be a player. Keep an eye on that kid. Remember that name. But anyway, as we go on from there, let's look at some of the chaos that took place last week in college football. As I'll go through some of the scores of the top 25, and we'll just have a quick recall on what happened in college football last Saturday. So that was week 7. All right. South Florida, they defeated North Texas 63-36 in a game that played out as expected. Iowa State, number 22, Iowa State lost to Colorado 24-17. Good to see Colorado get a win. I'm always going to be a big fan of Dion. So, hey, anytime Colorado gets a win, I'm happy for them. I didn't expect that. I really thought Iowa State would win this game. Thought they might be the better team. Thought they'd be a little bit better prepared. I was wrong. So, it's going to be what it's going to be. Pitt knocked Florida State out of the top 25 with a 34-31 victory over Florida State. Ohio State, they defeated number 17 Illinois 34-16. Indiana, as I mentioned, previously number 7 Indiana, defeated number 3 Oregon at Oregon 30-20. Again, Indiana's on the rise, folks. Hey, they're number 3 right now in the country. Pay attention to the Hoosiers, people. The Hoosiers are not messing around, period. Ole Miss had to come from behind to defeat Washington State, as Washington State had Ole Miss in the clutches for most of the game. But Ole Miss did what they did. The cream rose to the top, and Ole Miss escaped with a victory against Washington State, 24-21. Let's see, we got Texas A&M. They defeated Florida 34-17. I still got love for Florida. I still think they're better than what they are. This Texas A&M team might be better than I expected, or they just protect the home field very well. Either way it goes, Texas A&M emerged with this victory pretty easily, 34-17. Texas A&M over Florida. For 5, Texas A&M, Florida. Number 6, Oklahoma, lost 23-6 to Texas in the Red River rivalry. And shout out to Arch Manning. Hey, he got his first signature win of his college career. It is good. I'm happy to see Arch Manning do good. I want to see him do good. It's good to see that he's progressing and getting better, because he's been getting shit on quite a bit. And a lot of that has to do with his last name, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that he makes a lot of money in the NIL. And we haven't seen the results on the field the way we expected to see the results on the field. But this is a step in the right direction for Arch. Congratulations on the victory, Arch. We see you. Keep moving in the right direction. Texas, if Arch can start playing like this on a more consistent basis, Texas probably get back to being ranked, and maybe we'll have an outside shot at making the playoff. Because one thing we know, they're going to love Arch Manning. And if he can get that team somewhere close to being in the playoffs, they will get picked for the playoffs. Mark my words on that one. Alabama, number 8 Alabama defeated number 14 Missouri, 27-24. Alabama looks to be back on track. And if there's one SEC team that I would say is scary, it would be Alabama because of their history and because of their tradition. And they've already defeated Georgia. They pretty much washed themselves clean of that Florida State fluke, because that's exactly what that was, a fluke. But they washed themselves of that, and they're in the right direction. They're playing some good football right now, people. Winning on the road in the SEC is not easy at all. So for Alabama to pull that off, it's a pretty impressive win. Missouri, hey, we see you. Keep working. Keep getting better. Ain't nothing wrong with y'all. Just keep getting better. Ain't nothing wrong with that, though. Y'all took one on the chin, and it's going to happen. It's Alabama. Be all right, though. Georgia, number 10, Georgia defeated Auburn 20-10 in a game that was marred by controversial calls and has folks believing that the SEC is winning games for Georgia, which I guess will make Georgia the Kansas City Chiefs of college football. But, it's neither here nor there. I didn't get to watch the game, so I'm not going to comment too much on what I didn't see and what I don't know. All I know is Georgia won 20-10 in a game that I expected Georgia to win. And if they needed help from the referees, hate to see it. Hate to see it. Number 9, Texas Tech defeated Kansas 42-17. And again, this is a game where I said that Will Hammond had to come into the game once again for Baron Morton, who got hurt once again. And Will Hammond led the team to victory once again. Shout out to my boy, Will Hammond. Keep doing big things. At some point, y'all just going to have to make him the starting quarterback over Baron Morton, because Baron is going to be out here getting hurt. And I know y'all paid him all that NIL money, but if he's going to be out here getting hurt, we know one thing. He ain't going to the NFL. Let him collect his check. Let him sit on the bench and watch Will do work, period. But anyway, Texas Tech got a squad. They got a squad. Keep an eye on them. LSU defeated South Carolina. Number 11, LSU defeated South Carolina 20-10. Number 12, Tennessee defeated Arkansas 34-31. Number 13, Georgia Tech defeated Virginia Tech 35-20. Number 15, Michigan lost to USC 31-13. Back to the drawing board for Michigan. Number 16, Notre Dame lost to, or no, my bad. I apologize. That's my bad. I'm looking at it wrong. Notre Dame defeated North Carolina State 36-7. Number 16, Notre Dame. Number 18, BYU defeated Arizona in 2 overtimes, 33-27. And last but not least, Utah won again at home, 42-10 over Arizona State. And I believe that's the game that's next up for Texas Tech, if I'm not mistaken, but we will move on to that. Those are all the games from last week, all the top 25 games, as you can see in here. Not a whole lot went down. Like I said, Indiana won. They got them a victory. Like I said, Alabama won on the road, which is always big in the SEC. And who else was there? Oklahoma over Texas. Other than that, chalk walk. Oh, and USC defeating Michigan. Other than that, though, chalk walk. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. As we move on to the following week, this week we got Louisville. 4-1 Louisville will face Miami. Miami's a 13.5 points favorite in that game. But some other good games we got coming up. LSU will be at Vanderbilt, number 10 LSU at number 17 Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is a 2.5 point favorite. Oklahoma visits South Carolina. South Carolina's unranked. Oklahoma's favored by 5.5. Could be another one of them home game, away game type deals. Keep an eye on South Carolina, folks. Other than that, man, Ole Miss is at Georgia, and that should be a good game. Give me Georgia in that one, but Georgia's favored by 7.5. Should be a good game, though. We'll see. And Tennessee and Alabama play at Alabama. Both teams 5-1. Alabama, 7.5 point favorite. USC will travel to Notre Dame, where Notre Dame is an 8.5 point favorite. Number 20, USC versus number 13, Notre Dame. And other than that, for good games, we got Missouri at Auburn. Missouri is a 1.5 point favorite. Auburn is unranked. And number 23, BYU will face number 23, Utah will face number 15, BYU at BYU. So that basically knocks down all the good games we got coming up for this upcoming week. You know, we will see what happens as we wait for college football to transition to the playoffs. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I'm waiting on. I think that's what we're all waiting on. It's been a lot of fun this season. A lot of fun. I've been calling it boring from time to time just because there seems to be a lot of parity, and it's hard to figure out who is going to do what on any given weekend at the same time. the cream is going to rise to the top. But we won't see that cream rise to the top until the playoffs get here. Speaking of cream rise to the top, Penn State fired James Franklin after 3 losses. And while it's one of them things where I'm not surprised it happened, it's kind of hard to believe a little bit, but I guess things got that bad to where they just had to go on and get that man up out of there. And, it's going to be like that sometimes. I hate to see it. I like James Franklin. I always love seeing black coaches do well in the college football or NFL. So when we lose one, it's always sucks to see it, but, he'll bounce back. I'm sure he'll be fine. There's been a lot of speculation and innuendo on what his buyout is and ain't. I've seen 48 million. I've seen 56.6 million. I've seen that he needs to get a job in coaching or broadcasting, and then Penn State will hook him up with a little bit, but no numbers were released. So at the end of the day, only James Franklin and Penn State know what's up with his buyout. It is one of the things that I guess it just had to happen, and it did happen. I hate to see it. We'll see you soon, though, James Franklin. Maybe you'll end up here in Lexington at Kentucky when they get rid of Mark Stoops at the end of this year, which is what I think is going to happen. But that's neither here nor there, neither. We shall see what happens. Kentucky got some shit to work out as well. But anyway, that's all I got for college football. Now, on to the Major League Baseball playoffs real quick as the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the New York Yankees in 4 games. And as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. so eloquently put it, the Yankees lose. Yes. The Blue Jays finished the Yankees off in 4 games. The Seattle Mariners finished off the Detroit Tigers in an epic 15-inning Game 5. Jorge Polanco singled to right with the bases loaded to propel the Mariners to the American League Championship Series, where the Mariners are actually currently up 2-0 against those Toronto Blue Jays, as that series heads to Seattle for Game 3. The Mariners won Game 1 by the score of 3-1, and then opened up the bats to win Game 2 by the score of 10-3. In Game 3, Shane Bieber will take the mound for the Blue Jays, while George Kirby will take the mound for the Mariners. Now, while I would love to see the Blue Jays and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. advance to the World Series, they have some work to do to erase this deficit. The Mariners, they have been the hottest team in baseball since July, and I fully expect them to win this series. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they won the whole kit and caboodle, the whole World Series. Do not be surprised if your Seattle Mariners are the 2025 World Series champions. But before we get to the World Series, the National League Championship Series is also underway, as the Dodgers made quick work of the Phillies as they won their series 3-1, and the Brewers finished off the Cubs in 5 games, winning Game 5 by a score of 3-1. The Dodgers are currently up 1-0 against the Brewers, and Game 2 is actually scheduled for tonight in Milwaukee, as the Brewers have home field advantage for the series. And losing Game 1, they do have some work to do, and they are down 1-0 to the Dodgers. Yoshinobu Yamamoto takes the mound for the Dodgers, and Freddie Peralta will be on the mound for the Brewers in Game 2. I do think the Dodgers are the better team. Milwaukee is absolutely more than capable of winning this series, and they will need to win this game tonight if they want to make a statement to the Dodgers in this series. I expect the Dodgers to win this series, but we will see what happens. Now, on to NASCAR, where Denny Hamlin won the most recent race at Las Vegas and punched his ticket to the championship 4. This race was great for Denny, as he started on the pole, and in the last several laps, he regained the lead from Kyle Larson and Chase Briscoe and won Vegas by 1.53 seconds over Kyle Larson. This win marks Denny Hamlin's 60th career victory, and it guaranteed that he will be racing for his first championship in the Cup Series. So just goes to show, doesn't matter how good you are in NASCAR, it is hard to win. Denny Hamlin is in his 40s. He's got 60 wins under his belt, which places him amongst some of the all-time greats, but he has never won a NASCAR championship. And one thing he can say is that if he doesn't win it this year, it's not that he didn't try his hardest. It's not that he didn't earn it. It's just that, sometimes it just ain't meant to be. But either way it goes, Denny Hamlin is the first car to punch his ticket to the championship 4 in Phoenix, and we will see what he has in store for us. when we get to Phoenix. But before we get to Phoenix, as great as this day was for Denny, it was not a good day for Ryan Blaney, William Byron, or Chase Elliott. The good news for them is that they have 2 races left to make the championship 4. And with Martinsville being one of those races, I'm kind of looking forward to a pissed off Ryan Blaney fighting for a spot in the championship 4 at Martinsville if he is unable to win at Talladega, which is where the next race will be. And one thing we know, Blaney and William Byron are more than capable of winning at Talladega, as they have done so before in the next gen car. And they are, again, these two are above average drivers on super speedways. Both have secured wins at Talladega. I know William Byron has won at Daytona. I'm not sure if Blaney's won at Daytona off the top of my head. He might have. I wouldn't be surprised if he has. Either way it goes, Ryan Blaney always does pretty well on the super speedways. But the current standings, as we stand right now, the 8 drivers still remaining in the playoffs. Denny Hamlin is in first, punched his ticket to the championship 4. Next up is Kyle Larson, then Christopher Bell, then Chase Briscoe, then William Byron, then Chase Elliott, then Joey Logano, and then Ryan Blaney brings up the rear out of those 8 drivers who are still remaining in the playoffs. And again, they're headed to Talladega, and this can and will change on a whim, especially at a track like Talladega, where the big one can effectively and end anyone's day in a split second. It doesn't matter how good you are at driving. Doesn't matter how good it doesn't matter what place you're in. Doesn't matter how good your car is. Avoiding the big one is the name of the game. And I'm super excited for Talladega as we have a lot of exciting racing in store for us. Now, before I go, I do want to give a quick update to my fantasy football team that I know y'all don't care about. Now, I have a special NFL, as I mentioned earlier, I have a special NFL State of the Union address paired with my guy and NFL expert, Jeff Jefferson. So I'll give a quick update to my fantasy football team in this episode as we're just going straight NFL once I lock in with Jeff. But anyway, man, I told y'all my team was starting to come together. And they absolutely showed out this week. My team, the Colin Kaepernickers, won 257.7 to 123.8 against Team Rando Hurt, managed by our commissioner, Randy Ramey. Yes, I put the beat down on his squad this week. I put it down so bad, I felt bad about it. You know what I'm saying? Because it was sick, man. It was sick. Everyone came and did their thing this week and put the whole league in notice that we are not messing around with you mother suckers. Not at all. So be ready for the Colin Kaepernickers as we roll through. All my team needs to do is stay healthy. And if they can stay healthy, navigate the bye weeks properly, I like our chances to pull out the victory and end with the big trophy at the end of the year. But we need to focus, lock up this playoff spot, and then work to finish the deal in the playoffs. But anyway, let me tell you what this team did this weekend. First, man, switched up on me. There we go. All right. This week 6, Dak Prescott, quarterback, 33.9 points. Devon Achane, running back, 38.2 points. Bijan Robinson, running back, 46.8 points. Ted McMillan, wide receiver, 15.5 points. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, look, man, where you at, buddy? Where you at? My team is doing big things. My team's scoring 257 points, and A.J. Brown's giving me 11. He's giving me 11. Hey, step up. Step up. Man. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 37 points. David Njoku, he got hurt. He only got 3.5. But that just lets you know that even I got guys that can give 3.5. And my rest of my team shows up, picks them up. Next man up. That's what I like to see. Oh, my boy, CTE Scatterboo. Cam CTE Scatterboo. 3 touchdowns, 32.8 points. Broncos defense, 30 points. And then my kicker, Brandon Aubrey, gave 9 points. So, yeah, folks, my team, they showed up and showed out this past week. I know y'all don't care about them, but I'm going to tell you about my fantasy football team anyway. We're trying to get this money, trying to get this trophy, trying to make a name for ourselves in the Dirty Dozen. What is it? What is my league? The 30 Dozen South something? Yeah. The Colin Kaepernick's league. That's what we calling it. The Colin Kaepernick is leaving. That's what it is now, right now, at this moment. But anyway, that is all I have for this particular episode of Jason's Jewels. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Jason's Jewels channel on YouTube. Also, be sure to check out the Clearly Confused podcast channel on YouTube as well. As my hosts, Deuce Speaks and I wax poetic about society, politics, culture, whatever we feel may pop up, it will get discussed on the Clearly Confused podcast. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Clearly Confused podcast, as well as Jason's Jewels on YouTube. Both of them channels are there for you. Once again, this is Jason's Jewels. I am your host, Jason Alexander, and we are peace.